Hello, welcome to When Saturdays Come with me, Bry. So it's Derby week. Are we looking forward to the game between Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United on Sunday at Hillsborough? I'm not particularly looking forward to it, to be honest with you. I do think that actually Sheffield Wednesday are favourites to win the game, which I'll explain why I think that's the case at this moment in time. It's one of those games that on the football calendar, all the United and Wednesday fans look forward to. It's one of the first they look forward to on the fixture list, assuming that we're in the same league. I'm over the Blade, of course. I've watched my Blades fan for over 60 odd years now. I don't particularly look forward to the games now as the years have gone on. I think personally, you can count on one or two hands how many really good games they are, exciting games they are. I think they're all about bragging rights, aren't they, for the fans more than anything. That, there's a lot at stake for the fans. The bragging rights in your pubs with your mates and all the rest of it. But bottom line of it is, it's 3 points on the table, isn't it? Who wants it more than the other team? They tend to be drab affairs, don't they? A bit tetchy, a bit nervous to watch as a fan. They're not really enjoyable, in my opinion, because obviously whoever you support, you don't want your team to lose. And it's a little bit slightly different this year. Both teams at their bottom for different reasons. Wednesday, of course, are in this administration in dire straits, which is, to be honest with you, as a Blades fan, it shouldn't be like that, should it? No football club should be going through these situations financially. A lot of clubs do. A lot of clubs drop out of the league, and they have done. I don't think that's going to be the case with Sheffield Wednesday, but they've had that 12-point deduction, and they're on a -4 now, which is really tough for Sheffield Wednesday. Difficult for them to get out of that. I mean, it's probably odds on that they might get relegated now, which actually, to be fair to Sheffield Wednesday, they've got nothing to lose on this game on Sunday. I think there's more pressure on the Blades not to lose this one. I think Wednesday can go out and be more expansive, if you like. They can go and get out there and make it more of an open game and attack the Blades. I think Sheffield United, as we all know, have got this Achilles heel at the moment. As a Blades fan, we all know what they are. We can't score much at one end, and we've got this Achilles heel ending conceding goals at the other end, albeit it was a much better performance against Queen's Park Rangers when we drew 0-0 the other week. So, it's going to be quite an interesting game. I do genuinely believe, I know a couple of mates of mine have said to me that Wednesday are favourites to win this game because they've got a more of a settled side, and the Blades haven't got as much as a settled side at this moment in time. And Wednesday have got nothing to lose. And United definitely need the points to try and get up that league table, don't they? I mean, on current form, both teams are not doing great, are they? Wednesday have played 15 games and they've only won 1, drawn 5 and lost 9. They've not won in the last 9, I don't think, and on -4. Blades, slightly better. They've played 15, won 3, drawn 1, lost 11 on 10 points. We're on third from bottom. So we're desperate to get points to not get into this relegation battle. We're not in the dire straits in a minute. And we all know what the story is with ChrisWilder, what he's trying to do come January transfer market. So that'll be an interesting point for them. Signed Patrick Bamford, of course, to try and bolster on a short-term contract, which is the right thing to do for a couple of months. Incidentally, he played for the under-21s against Hull City yesterday. He had 45 minutes to get a bit of minutes in his legs, so that'll have done him good, no doubt. Hopefully Gus Hamer might be back for the Blades as well. I think we'll know more about all that when ChrisWilder does his presser. Incidentally, Radio Sheffield are doing that manager's interview tonight. So I will try and record that if I can, because for all those of you who can't watch it or can't see it live, I'll try and record it live and I'll put it up on the end of this video if I can, if we can do that. And if we can't, then so be it. We'll look forward to hopefully ChrisWilder might do another presser on Friday before the game on Sunday. Historically, like I said, over the last 60 years, you know, all the derby games I've seen, you can count on one hand. I mean, obviously they won a couple of years ago when Blades won 4-2 down at Hillsborough. That were an exciting game to watch. There's been 1 or 2 at Bramall Lane, have been good games. But I don't particularly, I never get too high on them. I never get too low on them. I don't try and beat myself up too much if Wednesday win or whatever. I know it's difficult for fans who have to work with a Wednesday mates or United mates and they get ribbed for a week or 2, and it's just part of the game, and it's just the way it is. It's a banter what goes, in between your mates, don't it? It just waits until the next game and you get your own back and all that. It's just the way football is, isn't it? And with local derbies. But it is a historical game. People tend to look forward to it. A lot of fans really look forward to these games. I don't particularly. It's just my humble opinion on that. I just think to me, it's just all I think about is Blades getting 3 points week in, week out and getting up that league table. To me, if you can't win, don't lose. It's another point. So that's the way I'm looking at it on the Sunday game. I hope it's a good game. I really do. Most of them are not, but we'll wait and see. I'll probably be hiding behind sofa with 5 minutes to go if it's 0-0, like we probably most of us will be. But you know, it is what it is, isn't it? At the end of the day. But I think, interestingly enough, I know Wednesday at the bottom are on -4 points, but actually, I think there's times where they've not been playing that bad. And they've got a settled side, like I said earlier on, and I don't think Blades have. I don't know what the team's going to be. My opinion on Blades' team could be Cooper in goal, Sariki, Tanganga, me, and McCallum. And I think he might play Tom Davis with Pecky in middle, with Hamer if he's fit. I think Ogbean has been struggling with his slight hamstring injury. Whether he's fit or not, I don't know. I think he'll probably start with Campbell and Ings up front with a little bit of luck as well. So I think Danny Ings deserves to be playing after his performance against Queen's Park Rangers without doubt. And I certainly think Bamford will probably be on the bench and he'll play some part in it as well. I think Shackleton might be fit. Chong might be. I don't know. We'll wait and see. I think that's the sort of a crux of the side which he might put out there on Sunday for Blades. So, you know, I look forward to that. What I'll wait till I see if I can get this video uploaded tonight for the Radio Sheffield one and put it on after this so you can watch it at your leisure as well. And then I'll do another one after the game on Sunday. Let's hope it's a good game. We can lots of talking points, and we can hopefully it's 3 points for the Blades, and we can try and get up that league table and get that confidence moving before the game against Portsmouth on Wednesday, and then Leicester on Saturday. Again, another 3 games in 7 days. It's going to be a busy week for Blades. So we're going to have to hopefully we can be injury free and suspension free, because there's 1 or 2 players very close to being suspended as well. So we'll look forward to that. So if you go into the game, enjoy it. I hope there's no trouble. There's always one more on out there, isn't there, who's got half a brain cell who wants to cause trouble. I hope they don't. I hope it's a good day. I hope everybody enjoys it, and it's, you know, and everybody goes home happy and safe at the end of the game. So thank you for watching as always. Please like and subscribe and like the channel if you can. I really love to read your comments, as I do, and I generally reply to everybody as well. So thanks for watching. Up the Blades. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Don't hide behind the sofa if you can. Get behind the team. Having said that, I probably will. So let's hope it's a good win for the Blades on Sunday. Make the best team win, and I'll speak to you after the game on Sunday afternoon. Up the Blades.
Good evening, you're listening to Football Heaven on BBC Radio Sheffield. Tonight, it is a Steel City Derby special. Live in the studio, both managers, Henrik Pederson from Sheffield Wednesday, ChrisWilder from Sheffield United, and we'll be discussing a number of topics ahead of the big game on Sunday. Our 2 guests then, Henrik Pederson, ChrisWilder. Good evening to you both. Thanks for coming in.
Good evening. Good evening.
Henrik, have you recovered from the Denmark-Scotland game last night?
it was a tough game, but I'm fit again.
Do you just want to exchange tactics and team lineups now and get it out of the way?
We'll just leave it, I think.
Do you know each other, Chris? Do you know Henrik? Henrik, do you know Chris? Have you kind of like crossed paths much since obviously Henrik came to Sheffield?
Yeah, obviously with the previous manager and Henrik coming into Sheffield, I've met him a few times as well. So we've got some mutual friends, and he went on a summer trip with a few of my pals as well that I know you quite enjoyed. Paul Mitchell, who obviously worked with us at Sheffield United for a number of years. There's an organised walking football, is that right, Henrik? Walking football trip to Mallorca. I think Wads is on it, and a few of the old boys, Rich Pillinger from Hallam, and I think Henrik went on that. So, yeah, we've got mutual friends as well.
Yeah, Henrik, do you find that in the city of Sheffield it's kind of unavoidable that you're going to bump into, to the staff and the coach, maybe even some of the players from both Sheffield clubs from time to time?
Yeah, I have met some of them. Not so often, but I have met Chris more times, and yeah, I enjoy when we are meeting each other, and it's always interesting to speak with Chris.
Let's talk about the game. Chris, what kind of Sheffield Wednesday team are you playing this time, do you think?
A fully committed one. I've got to say, listen, the history is always there, whether it's me, whether it's for the last 100 and whatever years, it's always there. The rivalry's there from a supporter's point of view, from people connected heavily, and even people that have not lived in Sheffield or not played for Sheffield United or not managed Sheffield United or Sheffield Wednesday for long periods. I know how passionate Henrik is about the game, having been in his company for quite a few times. So the game is that. There. What I will say is that I think what's obviously we're going to talk about this as well. The hand that Henrik was dealt was a really tough one. I've been in that position before at Northampton and even at one of my first jobs at Halifax Town. And I think he's absolutely got everything out of a committed group of players. So we know how dangerous this game is for us. We're not in the best league position in the world and would like us to be in a better one, but we always know that this game everything goes out the window. But I think you've seen by the results and the performances as well, the players that Henrik has to pick, and I'm not being disrespectful, obviously, it's not a regular Sheffield Wednesday squad that you would expect over the years that's been put together, but I think he's got absolutely everything out of his group of players. I've got to say as well, I think the captain and Liam Palmer deserve an enormous amount of credit how they've galvanised the players as well. And listen, we've all got our own problems, we've all got our own issues, we've all got our own situations at our club. Obviously it's a tough job wherever you are, but looking through in terms of what has happened over the back end of last season, and maybe over the last couple of seasons, over the back end of last season, what happened through the summer with the manager leaving, what happened in pre-season, what's gone off over the last two or 3 months. I think what Henrik's got out of his group should be hugely congratulated and applauded, and I'm sure it is by the most important people, which are the Sheffield Wednesday supporters.
Henrik, before I ask you the same question about Sheffield United, just a bit on that, how different does the place feel now that ultimately the club's gone into administration, but the atmosphere around Sheffield Wednesday feels very different ever since that Oxford game, which was the first game when there was the change at the top?
Of course, there's happened a big change of energy. Since the administrator took over, it's like freedom again. There's hope again. There's belief again. People are looking forward to the future, and you can feel it doesn't matter where we are going. When we go to Hillsborough, we could feel before the energy was heavy. It was a little bit fear for the future. There was anger. There was we were unhappy. And now after you can feel in the energy in the stadium. there's a quite different energy. There is this belief, this hope, and doesn't matter where I'm coming, and I'm appreciate that a lot. Then this open-minded hope and belief for the future, and it's fantastic.
In many ways, Chris, although it's Sheffield Wednesday's issue to deal with, are you quite pleased that this has been somewhat resolved, or it's gone into administration before the derby? Because we could have faced the prospect of Wednesday fans having to decide whether to attend. You may have had sort of 3 empty sides at Hillsborough and then a full Leppings Lane at Sheffield United. And really, we all want to see both games sold out, don't we? I don't know, maybe you're shaking your head, maybe you don't.
Do we? This game becomes a lot more difficult for us. Obviously, it's always is a difficult game when you've got 30,000 Sheffield Wednesday fans after you personally and as a team, so not expecting anything different. I think Henrik's right, the handcuffs have definitely been taken off Sheffield Wednesday, regardless of the administration, points deduction or whatever's set to come as well. There is, I think everybody understands in the city there's a bright future ahead, and they're going to be a lot better for it. Listen, let's talk about this from a genuine point of view. I've never celebrated the Sheffield Wednesday victory, and I suppose Barry Banner's never celebrated a Rangers victory, so that's just the way we're brought up or whatever. But I think from the overall scenario and situation from a football point of view, I'm a football historian, I'm a football lover, what has happened to the players, what has happened to the staff around Sheffield Wednesday that have worked there for 15, 20, 25 years, what they've had to go through, what the managers had to go through, what the players have had to go through. It feels like a new beginning. We've got our battle. We've got our struggles. In terms of our start to the season, and now with the position that we're in, and with what we're trying to do to change that narrative and change that position from a league point of view. We all have that, and I think we all understand as well from a statistical point of view, Sheffield Wednesday to get out of this situation this season is going to be incredibly tough, and they'll have to go on an unbelievable run to do it. That's from a football point of view as well. But what it does give is obviously huge hope for the future, and I think everybody realises and recognises in Sheffield and even the red half of Sheffield that football club is an attractive proposition for somebody to come in, pick it up, dust it down, look after the ground, look after the training ground, invest in the academy, invest in the team, invest in the football club, and they'll come again. So, yeah, a little bit of a different side to that from me personally as well, but my side as well from a football guy as well.
Henrik, I want to ask you about Sheffield United. What kind of Blades team do you think you're going to come up against this Sunday?
I think we will play against a very organised team again. I can see the energy have also changed again in the team since Chris took over the team, and they are very, very, they are very compact, very strong. They can make for too high diamond pressing, but they're very, very difficult to play against. They can also be very compact and play on transition. On the ball, I think it's a team who have so much quality, so they can build up from the back, but they can make the combination, but they also have the skills further up to play a little bit more simple football, but also they have top players I call it in the red zone behind the 2 6s and in front of our back line. So it's a team where you have to be ready to handle many different situations, because it can be a second ball game where it's very, very direct, but they can also handle the ball, and we have to run a lot to get and invest a lot to get a lot of good pressing situations. So a complex challenge on Sunday.
And while we've been talking about the issues at Sheffield Wednesday, Chris, it's hardly been a walk in the park for Sheffield United, has it? And the experience since the playoff final and everything, the drama that's happened since then.
Yeah, it's been a tough period for everybody, most importantly the supporters. But the confidence that I gained from speaking to the owners when we had conversations regarding the future, I think the humility shown by everybody, both sides, to getting us back on track. Disappointed in the results. The performances from a data point of view have been pretty good. I think most corners, most touches in the opposition box, most regains in the final third. Running stats, dual stats. We've been pretty happy. I think obviously the start has not helped from a belief and a confidence point of view. So restoring that has been key. We've not had the luxury of a pre-season. We've not had the luxury of 8 weeks of the start of the season to work, and I think Henrik knows,
is laughing a little bit. Yes,
I think Henrik knows how important that is for everybody to get your messages, to drip feed your messages in, and not just from a tactical point of view, from a cultural point of view. This is what we're going about. So changing the mindset of that. It's a mixed group. There's players that I've inherited. There's players that were with me last season that have, let's put the cards on the table, that have not produced good enough performances individually and as a collective. So getting that right, it's been difficult. I've taken over teams. I took over a team at Middlesbrough that was a decent team, and they weren't in a great position, and we had a decent run of it. Beat Man U and Tottenham in the FA Cup and got to 7th. And I think Michael Carrick took over a decent team for me. And there's been, examples of managers coming in and seamlessly coming in and turning it around. I thought it would be easier than what it has been, but we're working away and we'll get to where we want to get to. The players have shown a fabulous appetite and cut out the daft mistakes. I think Henrik will have looked through the goals conceded and obviously be rubbing his hands together because we've conceded some absolutely ridiculous goals. But I think he'll realise as well that, as he talked about from attacking point of view, we've got threats, we've got Gus back, we've got Chong back, we've got Arblaster back, we've got some good players at the top of the pitch. We've obviously brought Pat into the group. Danny Ings is getting better by the week. So, Tyrese Campbell has had a rocket. So all of a sudden he needs to do better because of the competition around him. So I think we all recognise the strengths and weaknesses of both teams. But, I believe there's a run in us. And I believe, we have to do that sooner or later, obviously.
I wanted to talk about the two derbies last season. I'm going to do something now which the Sheffield United fans will be very pleased about, and the Sheffield Wednesday fans not so much, and I'm going to play the goals from the two games last season.
Palmer, it comes to 30 yards from goal, drops the shoulder, gets away from Bannon, plays it into O'Hare, into the air for Tyrese Campbell! And Tyrese Campbell slips the ball beyond James Beadle, and Bramall Lane erupts.
Tyrese Campbell now, a rare attack for the Blades, to the dead ball line, ball squeezed back, shooting chance, and Ryan Brewster has tapped the ball in. Well, whatever happens from here on in, Ryan Brewster has etched his name into Steel City derby history.
So 2 1-0 wins for Sheffield United last season. Before I get your take on doing the double last year, Chris, Henrik, you were obviously part of the games as part of Danny Rill's coaching staff. What do you remember about the two derbies last season?
I'm not really good to remember the details, but I remember the first game in November where we lost 1-0, that we had a very difficult beginning of the game, where you are a lot in control on the ball, and then we work us into the game, and I think we play a quite good second half, and I think you have one shot on goal, on target and score, and we have 0. So it was a very equal game. But you had the ball, I think 61%. You have the ball much more in this game than we had. And the home game, it was also an equal game, but here I think we had 14 or 15 shots, and you have 10 or 11, also an equal game. So 2 equal game, but still 2 lost, and maybe the individual quality also here, but I think we progress a lot from the first to the second derby, and I hope we can take the next step now.
Chris, what do you remember about the two games?
Well, I've got to say, over the period of watching Sheffield United, and I think Sheffield Wednesday might have a particular memory a few years ago at Hillsborough, a 4-0 one, and obviously we had an unbelievable afternoon in 2017. But every game, I mean, 2 games. The 2 0-0 draws that we've had. Well, I think it's been 4 0-0 draws, and 3 wins for us. apart from one game, there's been nothing in any of the games, and there wasn't anything in that game. We found a bit of quality, which I said after in my honest post-match appraisal of the game. I didn't see it as maybe their manager saw it, but I think that's my outlook and my appraisal on games. Don't try and spin anything at all. And the home game, we found a bit of quality. I've got to say, they stuck it right on us for the first 10 or 15 minutes, and we could quite easily been behind in that game. But we were resolute. We had characters. We had men. We had experienced boys in there that knew how to see that sort of period out. We gradually grew into the game, and we found our moment. We found our moment in the first game, which is a great moment for us. Fantastic ball from Gus into Callum, and Callum's slide ball, and Ty, what he does, he gets on a shoulder, and it's an obvious finish from him. But I think the atmosphere and the environment of both games always make these games that type of first and second balls, and who can find that moment. And very, very rarely is a Boxing Day massacre, is a 4-2 for us. I think they're one in every decade sort of results, and I think it'll be exactly the same on Sunday, and it'll most probably be exactly the same when the return fixtures at Bramall Lane.
Henrik, can I ask you what it's like to be the manager this time? Have you noticed anything different in the build-up? Like, do the fans come up to you maybe a little bit more often when you're out and about and say, can you please win this game? Or if it's a Blade, maybe it's a slightly different reaction you get from them as well. And also, it's been a long time since Sheffield Wednesday beat Sheffield United. It's February 2012. You know, it's coming up to 14 years since Wednesday beat United. What would it mean to be the boss who ended that run?
First, how it is to be a manager right now. Before this game, I'm really, really proud, and I'm really looking forward what we have been through the last month, and how we stay together right now as a club, player to player, player staff, player coaches, and all together with the fans. So what's happened internal, but also with people from outside, this togetherness is amazing right now. And to stay on the sideline Sunday and do all what I can to support the boys, make the best performance, and to make an environment where we really have the courage, the courage to be Sheffield Wednesday and to show what we can with all what we have. Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward. And of course, what would that mean for me if we are winning? I think Monday I'll have a big headache for the first, and then second.
Make sure you don't jump on a table.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything, Chris.
Second, I'll be, of course, with all what we have been through,
Our relationship is over.
I'll be very, very proud. Of course, I will.
Chris, you are unbeaten in derbies, and although, look, you will measure your success as a manager on promotions and stuff like that. But is it something you are particularly proud of as someone who is very aware of the rivalry that you have never lost to Sheffield Wednesday so far as the Blades manager?
It was something that when I first came into the job in 2016, I always tell this story about being in the Banner Cross with a few pals and watching Sheffield Wednesday the year before obviously get through that season, get through to the playoff final, and watching it and saying to my pals, if they win today, they're gone. And I think that's the old sort of debate, argument, view regarding owners and their investment in football clubs, because at that time there was no issue, was there, at all? Players were getting paid 30, 40, 50 grand a week, and everything was rosy, and you know, we're on a journey, and Carlos has had a dream and all stuff like that, so we know. So to narrow that gap was huge, and I've got to say, if the result had gone against Sheffield United, from my point of view, personal point of view, and Sheffield Wednesday won and gone in the Premier League, then we might not have been seeing them for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Who knows? But obviously that wasn't the case. All City won the game. We got promoted the season afterwards, and all of a sudden we're in the same division. But I think one of my ambitions was to close that gap, because, as I've talked about before, we were miles apart on a load of things. We were in the pub league for 6 years and couldn't get out of that, and Sheffield Wednesday were flying with the players and the quality that they've got. So on every level, from an academy point of view, we needed to dominate the city, which we've managed to do in terms of the players that we've produced. In terms of closing the gap, obviously we did pretty quickly, and our times quickly did change. And by the way, I'm not daft enough to think that that's going to last forever, especially if something positive happens for Sheffield Wednesday and they get taken over by people that want to invest and want to do it properly and not want to put the club in a perilous position long term. Because, as I've always said, custodians, and maybe the last guy wasn't really a custodian. He didn't really have all the feelings that the Sheffield Wednesday public, fans, supporters, players had really had. And I think that's really important, that the owners look after the football club. We've obviously, been on a journey since then and had a fabulous run at it. And by the way, there's been some difficult times this season, difficult times at Wembley, difficult times getting 92 points, difficult times getting relegated twice. But in there's been some good times as well, some positive signs, producing players, development of the ground, development of the training ground, development of the academy, selling good players as well. So we've had a good run at it. I want to keep that going, and I want to dominate the city. I've got to say, in 2016 and 17, you're walking downtown, there's more Sheffield Wednesday shirts than Sheffield United shirts. Now, hopefully, we've tried to address that balance through performances. Obviously, we've had a change of ownership as well. Prince Abdullah was incredibly positive with us, but from our point of view as well, earned income as well. A lot of that in terms of the years in the Premier League and a stay in the Premier League as well, which obviously everybody knows the financial benefits of that as well, Rob. So we've been allowed to do that, maybe off what the team and Prince Abdullah's backing as well has given us and support has given us. So yeah, of course it is close to our heart, and it has swung either side. I think you recognise I gave an interview off the back of our away win last season that went a little bit deep and riled a few people, but that's how it is. I'm talking from heart, I'm talking from a football point of view, I'm talking from a Sheffield United point of view as well, and that's where we wanted it to be. And we're going to have to work hard, I think, now over the next few years to maintain that. As I said before, Rob, I'm never going to celebrate a Sheffield Wednesday victory. And I know people say, let's get in the Premier League, both teams. For that to happen, Sheffield United got to win and Sheffield Wednesday got to win. So that's where I'm at personally. And I know people will not understand that, but some people will. But that's my point of view. We wanted to dominate the city, and on the whole, we've done that. But we're going to have to work extremely hard over the next 3 or 4 seasons to continue that.
I want to come back to something you touched on there, Chris, in a second, but I do want to ask Henrik, first of all, Chris he's very familiar with Sheffield and the football rivalry, being from this part of the world. As someone who's moved to Sheffield, how have you found it? How have you kind of taken to this city? And what have you learned about the Wednesday United rivalry during your time here?
First of all, it has been fantastic to come to Sheffield. For me and my family, the kids love the school, they love the football. My wife liked to stay here, and I have met a lot of great human, great people in Sheffield. And for me, it's like we're all the same. We are. It's difficult to be wrong in the way when you're speaking with people. I think people are very friendly. They are very open-hearted. So I really have felt very, very welcome here. And the second question was?
What have you learnt about the rivalry between Wednesday and United during your time here?
I think last year when we spoke about a derby and people asked me, do you know what it means to play a derby? Yeah, maybe, maybe not. I thought I knew, but now I knew more, and now I have been here nearly 3 years, and I cannot compare my emotion with people who have been here for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, but I can feel that doesn't matter where I'm coming and I meet Sheffield Wednesday fans, then it's always the derby that means most for them. And it's not just the game. No, it's much more than a game, because it means so much from the bottom of the heart of all the people that we can win a game again against Sheffield United. And this hunger to do this together with the players, and I can feel it. Yeah, we're looking forward to do all what we can to make a top performance against them.
So I want to take this opportunity, given that you're both here in the studio, and Chris, you know Sheffield very well and the football scene, and
I'll say as well, Rob, for Henrik to come over as well and to manage in a foreign country and pick the language up and then pick the culture up as well. You know, I've maybe not been brave enough to do that.
Have you ever had a chance?
I've had a couple, but I'm not so sure it suits me personally as well. Loving Sheffield as I do, but an awful lot of respect for managers that come over to different countries and having to pick the language up, pick the culture up, pick the environment up, mix locally, and as well run a big football club and try and get results at a club that needs or expects to get results as well. So there's an awful lot that Henrik can be proud of in terms of what he wants to do and how he's going about it. And I know, listen, there's a bit of pantomime, and there'll always be a certain section of people that, you know, regarding me, who think what they think about me, and maybe the other way around or whatever. But I think generally, from what I know in and around the city, in terms of what they think regarding what Henrik's like, as most importantly as a person, is incredibly positive. As a positive human being, as well as a good football guy.
I'm getting a sense there's a lot of respect here between the two of you. Yeah. Is that fair to say, Henrik? It really does seem to be that you both appreciate the job that you're both doing.
Of course. Chris, he spoke about the history before, and where he has had direct influence as a manager, and what they have built up the last many years is, big respect and big inspiration. And for me, it's always one thing is the professional side. I lose sometimes respect if the human side is not where I can get this feeling. But I have a big feeling also for Chris for the human side. So, of course, I have big respect.
So here's what I wanted to ask you both. You look around the country and there's parts of England where their football teams have success and, in some cases, sustained success. You see it in the North East. You've seen it on the South Coast. The Midlands clubs have been in the Premier League for a number of years, and then maybe they dip out, but then they get straight back up there again. This city is the birthplace of football. We've got two huge football clubs in this city. And yet I'm 41 years old, and for most of my life, they've had some kind of drama or they've not been succeeding. Why is that, Chris?
Me too. Talk about it, period, from when I first started watching Sheffield United in 79-80. You know, we had a period under Harry, Ian Porterfield originally for a couple of seasons. Harry had a great run at it. Another manager had a little go at it, and obviously we've had our period. And I think I said in the interview after the game last year, the Sheffield Wednesday side of the 90s that were in cup finals, and the Sheridans and the Hursts and the Waddles and the Roland Nielsen's. It was just an incredible team to watch as a football guy as well. But somehow it sort of implodes, doesn't it? And I was talking to Chris McClure about it. He's a massive Sheffield Wednesday fan. And if it was Liverpool, if it was Manchester, if it was the birthplace, if we had Sheffield Club, if we had Alum, if they had the original rules of football, they'd be absolutely all over it. Now I can't do a lot about that apart from affect my football club and now how we stand and what our standing is in the pyramid. And I think we have done that. We've affected it since 2016. The average attendance is like sort of 29,000. But I made my debut in front of 6,000 on a FA Cup third round game in 1986. So, you know, it is a bit crazy that nobody's really grabbed hold of it. Nobody's grabbed hold of it from above, in terms from a council point of view, and in terms from that point of view to say and recognise what we are as a city. And you drive on the Parkway, there's nothing. You drive into the city, there's nothing. That's Manchester, that's Liverpool. As I said, I had a conversation with John about that. Sheffield Club, you know, Palamine's the manager. don't want to give him a name check, but he's a manager. That should be better than what it is. Alam under Rich are doing fabulously well. I go up there anytime I can. I've seen Henrik up there and been up there with Henrik and had a pint up there. And the oldest ground, the oldest football club, 2 historic football clubs, it should be, but unfortunately it isn't. And there's obviously going to be a reason behind that.
Henrik, as someone who has come to this city and there is so much football heritage here, so much history, the clubs, it's what it's lacking, isn't it? It needs the 2 clubs to be doing better than they perhaps have in the last sort of 20 or 30 years.
It's easy to say yes. I can only know about Sheffield Wednesday for the last couple of years, and of course there's a huge potential in this city, and what Chris here has created in United with the fans. But for me, the Sheffield Wednesday fans is incredible, and one thing is what they're doing in the stadium when I come around, but doesn't matter where I'm going in England, then there's Sheffield Wednesday fan all over, and it's amazing to feel how big this club are when we are speaking about the fan culture, because we are a small club in many directions, our organization, our structure, but that's why we need a new owner, so we can live up to how good our fans are, and then we'll have a big potential, and then we'll also have a big future.
We've got ChrisWilder and Henrik Pederson with us here in the studio until 7 o'clock. I want to get to some of the questions that have come in. This is from James, who is a Sheffield Wednesday fan. That will become obvious as the question develops, fellas. He says, to both managers, what do they admire most about each other and have learnt from their own experiences as a manager? And secondly, what do they both feel are the main battlegrounds that are vital for the clearly obvious Owls victory that is coming on Sunday? He is obviously a Wednesday fan.
Well, I think I've said all along, been in that situation before when players are not getting paid on time, staff are not getting paid. How you get that energy, how you bring that all together. That isn't easy, and that's leadership. And Henrik obviously has that ability to lead from the front and galvanise and bring everything together. As I said, this all of a sudden over the last 2 or 3 weeks becomes a much more difficult game for us. With us, taking 4,000 or 5,000 in there and the ground being half empty, yeah, of course, everybody understands they want it to be a full house and whatever. From a selfish point of view, 3 points is big for us. Would it have been easier? Has it been easier for Middlesbrough to get a result at Hillsborough? Is it easier for Coventry to get a result at Hillsborough? Is it easy for those teams to get a result pre-administration or after now? It's going to be a difficult place to go and get a result. So there for me to galvanise the players, to work with the skipper and the senior players, and to really get the team fighting and firing. All their results that they've had have not been given. Just as much as Henrik watches all our games, we know the dangers that Sheffield Wednesday have got. They've got incredible togetherness, they've got incredible work rate. They've got Barry Bannon who can do anything from anywhere. I've seen a week ago when he sticks one in the top corner. They've got youth off the bench. Obviously, Henrik would have liked to have had a stronger squad and a stronger bench as well. So maybe that's a negative from their point of view. And this is a local derby on their patch. So it's an incredible, dangerous game for us. They're high energy. They press. They commit, and they've got threats at the top of the pitch. And I like the midfield player. I think he's a really good player. And so we have to be at our pretty much best for us to get a result.
Henry, the question was, what do you admire most about Chris as a manager, and also what do you think could potentially decide this game on Sunday on the pitch?
First to Chris, nobody knows better what is a derby than Chris, and this heart he put into the players when there's no doubt that his skills to transfer this hunger, this feeling to the players has been amazing. And when they go on the pitch, they know it's a derby. They also know it's not just another football game. It's more than this. And for me, it's again my boys, I have the biggest respect for our players, how they are standing up every day and do the best on the training. To each game, doesn't matter the environment they have been to. But for me, it's the courage to show who we are from the first moment. We have big respect, but we also need to have big respect for ourselves, because when we play from the heart and when we have the courage to show who we are, then we can compete with all teams. And this is this feeling I hope the player will bring on the pitch. We have nothing to lose, but we have all to win and show who we are.
I've had this message here. It says, it's from Howard in London. It says, listening to the respect both managers have for each other's teams and their current club's situation is refreshing. Let's hope both sets of supporters carry that respect for each other's teams into Sunday's game and just enjoy it. Whatever the result, show the same respect on their way home, says Howard. This one from Kevin. Good evening, Rob, Sir Chris and to Henrik. My question is for Sir Chris. Will Gus Armour be fit to play against Wednesday?
I'm not sure that's right introduction for me at the moment, mate. Gus is available. He's trained all week, so he's been a big miss. I think when you talk about big players and big moments and the top of the pitch, where we've got the ball to the top of the pitch on numerous occasions, and the stats that I talked about, I think you look for your quality players to produce those big moments, and we've certainly missed him. We've certainly missed Chong. Hopefully we're getting Tyrese Campbell to where he should be, and Danny Ings as well. Callum is, I've got to say, has been a shining light in a obviously poor start for the football club of the season. So if he keeps on doing what he's doing, and we got touch and go regarding Ollie Arblaster. I've got to say what he's been through, and from a local boy, understanding his frustration as well. Cruciate knee ligament injury in the Sheffield derby, the first Sheffield derby last season. Wanting to play on at half time, I can see it now. He's on the bike in the change room saying he's okay, and the doctors are just obviously saying there's absolutely no way he's done his cruciate. So for him to fight back from a big injury and produce what he's produced over the last 2 or 3 weeks, whether it's in time for him to be involved at the weekend, who knows? I know how much he wants to be involved, but big player for us, and getting him back and getting those boys back, especially at the top of the pitch, is going to make us better and hopefully more ruthless in our approach and results.
Dan's got in touch. He's a Sheffield United fan, but he says, with both sides signing a player who played for Leeds, have they been giving the info on how the other one plays? It is quite unique, isn't it, that Sheffield United signed Patrick Bamford, Sheffield Wednesday signed Liam Cooper. One's a defender, one's a striker. They obviously know each other very well from their time at Leeds. Henrik, first of all, about the signing of Liam Cooper, what is he going to add to the team? And obviously, it's something you badly needed, isn't it? Some extra bodies into the club.
I always said experienced player is only interesting if they still have the hunger, and we need strong personality, but strong personality who not only think what they can get, but what they can give. And he has both. He has a fantastic character. He has a fantastic human, and he's a fantastic leader on the pitch. He only have trained 2 times, or 1.5 times with us, but how he handled the things on the pitch, how he let people around him grow, and how he can learn from him in different situations. So I think he will be a big help for us.
And has he given you any tips on Patrick Bamford?
Not yet.
Still time. And how is Patrick Bamford settling in, Chris?
Pat's been good. He was at Coventry for over 5 weeks. So I spoke to Frank about him as well. So it was touch and go whether they took him. I think Pat thought that he'd get more minutes for us as well. They've got an outstanding front line players at the top of the pitch, Coventry, and Pat still wants to play, which I think is really refreshing from his age and what he's achieved. He's in good shape. We've done a medical. He played 45 minutes for the 21s yesterday, and he's ready to go. Gives us that experience, gives us that number 9. I think all Sheffield United supporters will realise, that we've missed that number 9. We're a number 9 club as well. different ways to win different games of football. You know, I'm not stuck in this, let's just play one way or whatever, you know, over, through and round. And the number 9, and I think it's quite interesting now, people are talking about the importance, even in football general, of a target man. And we haven't had one. We've had to play a certain way. At times it's frustrating because you're having to play one way and you can't change it up. Now with Pat in the building, gives us another option, and a lad that's was available last season as well. And a lot of lazy journalism answered the question today regarding Pat, and he's been out injured. Is this, that, and the other? Every player has an injury. Every player has a couple of injuries. You know, Pat's appearance record is good. He was available for 37 games last season. It's only because Leeds United had top players at the top of the pitch. Pirot was on fire, scoring, leading goal scorer for them, and they're winning games, getting to 100 points. But Pat feels, you know, he's still got a point to prove. I've talked to him. We've seen him train. Talked to Frank. Spoke to their medical staff, and it was pretty touch and go whether they took him. I think there was an argument that they might be having a bit of a go at it, and quite rightly so, in January. And Pat thought that maybe he won't get the minutes that he wanted. He's got to get into our side, but he will do, and he'll be a valuable contribution for an area of the pitch that we need and are missing.
James has been in touch. He says, Wednesday fan here, Rob. Just wanted to say a couple of things. One, the points that Chris makes about the heritage of Sheffield football are bang on the money, and it's disgraceful it's not celebrated. And two, to Henrik, our gaffer, our shining light of hope in what's gone on, respectful, gets the fans, gets the club, and hopefully manager for many years when we've got some money again. Up the owls, says James. We also had a question from somebody calling themselves the Rocket Owl, Henrik, who said, does Henrik feel like he's done enough as a manager to be given an opportunity by the new owners? Is that something that you spend any time thinking of, you know, when the new owners come in, that ultimately you will want the opportunity to say, look at what we've had to work with, we've done a good job so far, give me a chance to crack on?
First, I'm really looking forward to the new owners coming, and I think what we are doing right now is there's a lot of how can I say that? A lot of culture in this, and I'm proud what we are doing all together. Nobody can do something alone, and I can also not do something alone. I have a strong team around me, some good coaches, good staff, and we have a special player group. We are not many, but the players we have, they have a heart to Premier League, and let's see what's happened here. I would love to stay in this club, and I would love to stay here for many years and to bring this club further ahead and bring it back to a good period.
Adam, who's a Blade, says, as a player, Chris, how gutted were you to miss out on a League Steel City derby? Were you involved in the Zenith Data System Cup game in 1989? And have you forgiven Harry for signing Kevin Gage and selling you just before the derby in November 91 when you'd been in the side earlier that season?
I never forgive Harry at all. He brought about 6 right backs in the period that I was there. No, I was at Hillsborough for that game. One of the first games. I think it was 40 odd thousand there for that game. That'd have been what, 88, 89, I think.
89, yeah.
Yeah, 89. I was stood on the dugout when Dane Whitehouse scored against Sheffield Wednesday. I was a player then, but obviously more importantly a fan when we got that result, our first game back at Bramall Lane. Not played a derby for a long time, and at Hillsborough, obviously, when Hillsborough Bob scored as well, got a couple on his debut. So it was one of my biggest regrets. Yeah, I played in a couple of reserve team game derbies that were quite lively as well, but to not witness that and feel that was possibly one of the biggest disappointments. And as well, I was out on loan, would you believe, at Leyton Orient when United played Wednesday at Wembley, when obviously Wadser scored from, gets longer and longer when you speak to him. I think he's about 45 yards now in it, but obviously when Wednesday turned us over at Wembley, I was out on loan in that period. So yeah, that was obviously disappointment, but I think the emotion winning at Hillsborough for me is arguably one of the best afternoons of my life, not just my career. And I think even going back to, and maybe, I know, listen, I got caned for it in terms of what happened after the game at the home game, but to witness and feel a home victory as well when I'd not felt it as well as a player, to feel being around family and friends and my team and my supporters, our supporters, was an incredible feeling. So yeah,
Have you got to enjoy the moments as well, Chris? Because look, football is what it is, isn't it? It must be a very stressful job being a manager.
I got a smash, but I mean, Tony Bellew was quite. My pal was going back on a flight. Just a quick story. My pal was going on a flight back to America, and he was on a flight with Tony Bellew, and he was asking him. He said, "What you been?" "I've been to Sheffield Derby," my pal's a manager. And Tony Bellew, that idiot was on the table. He went, "Yeah." He says, "As an Everton fan, he was all over it." So it divided opinion. He said, "I'm sick and tired of tourists coming to my ground and me going to watch games of football. You know, you're amongst your group," and the emotion obviously spilled over on that afternoon. But like I said, it is what it is, and you get judged if I wear a suit and don't say anything and sit in the chair and in the dugout, you'll get battered. If you stand there chucking your arms around, you get battered. So you're in a no-win situation. But it was a great, obviously, an afternoon that we'd love to replicate on Sunday.
Henry, we've had quite a few people getting in touch asking about what the latest is. We know Sheffield Wednesday can sign 2 players. You've signed Liam Cooper. There have been, we've seen sort of speculation about who could potentially join you as well. Duncan Watmore, Nathan Redmond, people like that. Is anything closer in that regard?
Not yet. The 2 names you spoke about, they're training with us right now, and then we're searching in the market which player could be potential player. And right now we can sign 1 more. Let's see what's happened the next days.
Is it difficult? Because I imagine that anybody that you sign now, that we've talked about the need for pre-season and everything like that. These players have not had a typical last few months, and especially with the squad as stretched as it is at Sheffield Wednesday, that player that you sign might then be asked to play a lot of minutes, quite demanding. Could be quite a challenge for them, and injuries are very much a possibility, aren't they?
Of course it is, and especially when we have so many games as we have, and that's why it's a balance you have to bring them back in shape, and you want to integrate them as quick as possible, but you cannot do too much, because when you have not played football for so long time, then it's also limited what you can do. But I think we'll find a good way for Liam and integrate him as quick as possible and as much as possible.
The other person we get asked a lot about is obviously Harry Amass and how well he's played. I mean, you've got a smile on your face as soon as his name comes up. Is it certainly the case that he's going to stay at Sheffield Wednesday for the whole season? How well has he played? And people are wondering, because he's had a lot of success, if the situation permitted in January, could you sign other loan players like him?
First of all, I think the overall picture for him is he had a really good beginning, and then like all other young kids who is coming up from youth football or some few Premier League game and then come to the championship and play 3 games in a row, then the championship knocking on the shoulder and say, we need intensity every Saturday or Wednesday or Saturday. We need to go again. After mistakes, how is your reaction here? And this journey he has had as a human, as a person, the last 2-3 months has been amazing. And the last 3 games he has played again on a high level. But it's again, when you get a young player from United who is used to another environment, but to come to Sheffield Wednesday and he really, really want to come to us. And then to see how he has grown as a person. And here I mean his self-knowledge. Who do he want to be, Harry, and who do he don't want to be? Because in the beginning, when he went into the cyclist or where he get his old pattern is coming, he couldn't turn back. He need to wait to the half, or he meet Barry Bannan on the pitch to come back again. And so his self-knowledge is increased a lot, his self-control is increased a lot. And then his empathy also for the other players. He has empathy a lot, but now he also understands, they also need me. Also, when it's not going well for me, then I can still be a good defensive player. I can still do all the basic. So I think he has grown a lot, and I really hope that we can keep him after Christmas. And honest, I think it's a fantastic place for him to be right now.
And we've seen it with Sheffield United as well, Chris. You've had some very successful loan signings. How is that acknowledged by clubs who may be thinking, you know what, we'd be very open to our young star going to Sheffield United for a year or 6 months?
Trust in terms of your methods. It's an insular business, so they know how you work. They know who the good guys are. They know who the bad guys are. They know how you treat players. And I'm sure, incredibly impressed with the young man from Manchester United in terms of his performances this season. But for them to send him to Sheffield Wednesday and under Henrik's guidance and leadership is quite a coup, especially the situation that they were in at the start of the season. So you build those relationships, you build those trusts, and it is important that you maximise that. I think from a young player's point of view now, whether it's Ari Mas playing in front of 30,000 in a Sheffield derby, it's an absolute great experience. And if he wants to go and play at the top level for Man United or whatever, he's going to have to play in games like that. Manchester derbies, European games, Liverpool derbies or whatever. So we had the same when we had Dean Henderson. We're exposing him, and at times, like Henrik says, they'll make mistakes, but what is the reaction? What is your interaction with players? Because your training ground isn't Man City's, it's not Man United's, it's a little bit different, it's a little bit spit and sawdust, it's a little bit, cold at times, food might be not as good as what they experience, and the pitches might not be as good, but it's overcoming that and learning your trade. And certainly the boys that we've had out on loan go back as better players, in my opinion. And I'm sure whenever Harry goes back to Man United, he'll be thankful and grateful of the work that Henrik's put into him, whether it's Barry Bannon guiding him and playing in front of the games which he's going to play in from now on in, starting on Sunday.
We have got 2 minutes left of the show, so I want to give you both the opportunity to speak to your supporters as a final question. Henrik, what would you like to say to the Wednesday fans just a few days away from the Steel City derby?
We have been through a lot the last month, and how we have grown together, player, fans, staff, coaches. It has been amazing. And the last part with the administrator, and how strong we stay mental right now, and how strong our fans have been the last, after the administrator took over. It has been amazing. I always said the fans is a fantastic mirror for our players, and especially when it's difficult, they push us, they give us hope, and I think it can reach a new level on Sunday. We will have a full house. We will have a group of players who will do everything in life to win this football game, to make a good performance and to make them proud. So let's have a fantastic afternoon Sunday and support and help each other for this. And I'll be so proud to stay on the sideline and help and support our boys to do the best job they can.
Chris, what would you like to say to the Sheffield United
10
fans?
seconds there.
You've got a minute.
Here we go. No, I think, listen, it's been a difficult start. The disappointment of getting 92 points and not going up, disappointment of the heartache of having a fantastic playoff campaign and then losing in the manner that we did, and the situation that happened in the summer and the change. And I think we all go again for the next chapter of the journey, and it wasn't to be. I like to think that the team's looking like it should be, and the core values that a Sheffield United player is, the non-negotiables that they have to present to me, not just to me, but to the supporters, the running aspect of it, the fighting aspect of it, and the playing aspect of it as well. To bring all those three things together. So it's looking more like a Sheffield United team. The biggest compliment I always take from the supporters is that I think, I know that they trust me, and to send a team out there, I think always the question is, what do you do? What do you need to do? Make sure they realise and they recognise. Don't worry about it. They'll recognise and they'll realise. They understand it. Whether it's my messages, whether it's the messages of the players that have played in that Steel City derby, or the messages of the big players that we've got. We'll be ready. We know the challenge ahead. It's going to be a big, enormous challenge. We're taking on a United club, to be fair to them, and we've got to be at our best to get a result.
Fellas, really appreciate that. As a football fan as well as a journalist, it's been fantastic to listen to you speak with a lot of class and respect for each other as well in the studio tonight. Big thank you to Henrik Pederson and to ChrisWilder for coming into the BBC Sheffield studio tonight.